Okay, wait. Oh, you already started. Okay, never mind.
That's so good. Ain't nobody watching. What's up?
Oh no, I was finna try to change my little cord out again and see if I can get it to go through the little headset, but don't worry about it. We good.
Okay. We are live on air with the, go ahead and bring us in there.
The fandom void.
So it is just me and Adair today. We are rocking this. We're doing politics with movies. Woo!
Yep.
I know Adair has something he wants to talk about, so I'm gonna let him start off with his movie that he's been thinking of. That's all the introduction gonna get today. This is Loopy and Adair. That's pretty much it. Rock it, Adair.
All right. Okay. Well, my political movie for today, the initial one I thought of was Primary Colors, which was from '92. And it was basically an adaptation of a novel written about Bill Clinton. Some of it leading up to his candidacy, and some of his, for lack of a better word, some of his indiscretions or potential indiscretions. Uh, Bill was a ladies' man, and at the same time, his wife was ambitious, and therefore that created some friction. So yeah, that was my movie, but I don't really know. I mean, I don't know about discussing it. I mean, other than there was some scandals which we all lived through in real life and watched all over the news, and decided, hey, you know what? That's between him and his wife. If she gonna stay with him, it's all good. So that's all I got on that one. I mean, I looked up a few other movies that I couldn't remember the titles of that probably I think had more. Of course, a couple of weeks ago we talked about Starship Troopers, which for those of you who did check us out, was a lot of fascist propaganda. But it actually made me have a conversation with a friend of mine who was not Army. What was he? I think he was a Marine. And there were several questions that military life always makes me ask. I mean, my stepdad was a Marine. One of the things he was like, you don't need to be in the military. That's one of the things he told me. And I'm not mad at anybody who's chose that life. I'm actually, hey, I'm grateful that you did it, but I'm always curious as to, what's the difference between the fascist propaganda in Starship Troopers and what are fed to our military people, through boot camp in the various branches. And, so it's just an interesting vantage point for me. Um, yeah. So that's all I have for that anyway. I don't know. Since we, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Politics is, I watched the debate the other day. We're supposed to be talking about movies, but I'm kind of like, because it's just there's just so many movies. I just went through a list of like the top 40, and I was like, oh, I never saw that, never saw that, never saw that. Oh, I saw that one. Um, I guess my let me do a second pick. My second pick was Fahrenheit 9/11 because that dealt with the whole 9/11 and we'll never forget 9/11 and all of the stuff that led up to it and the connections between um, the Bush family and those who carried out the attack and the oil industry and all of that kind of stuff. And it just makes you look back and say, I mean, it's so much underlying stuff that's going on, that even now today with our current person in office, you just kind of got to wonder, okay, what are all these connections and why aren't we being given the full 411 on everything? You know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
can dig it. I can dig it. Um, the Clinton thing, I find that to be hilarious because the biggest scandal out of all of that is not that he was cheating on his wife, is that they were stealing money from the country. Um,
Yep.
and but it's so convenient.
Allegedly, allegedly,
Allegedly.
because there's
But that's
no
why
there
they were.
hasn't
That's why they. That's the original reason why they were. He was. What do you call it when a president is
impeached. No, it no
impeached?
no
It
he was
wasn't
in.
because of Monica Lewinsky. If you look it up, it was because of the money stuff.
No, it was because he lied about Monica Lewinsky. the crazy part. It's because under oath he lied and said, "I did not have sex with that woman," and so he lied to
Technically, they have no
her.
proof that he has sex with her. They just have proof that you did oral on him. And so a
Which
lot
is
of people don't consider that to be sex, so it's really a relative answer.
eh,
And I am his lawyer.
no. Oral sex is sex.
So
That's
check
why it's
this out.
titled oral sex. So but anyway.
This is true. Check this out. I just got a message from Hangouts on Air Live. It is going away on August 1st. So
Okay.
how are we going to stream live, you ask? We are going to either record with Zoom or we're going to record with what do you call it? Uh, crap. What's that? Other video service you can record with?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now because you got me on the spot. So wait, Hangouts is going away entirely. Is that what they're saying?
Hangouts Live is
Oh, so
video.
we could do like we did before and record it beforehand and then just post it, right?
Yep, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Uh, let's see, Skype. So we can do Skype or we can do Zoom, and then we can record it beforehand and then post it.
Okay. Well, they got to figure out a way to stop all the fascist propaganda that nobody's been able to keep up with. Oh, we don't know. There's so much stuff out there. We just haven't been able to catch it all. So it is what it is. Yeah.
All right, so my political movie was, you're gonna laugh, Elizabeth. You know that long series, Elizabeth, about the first woman to become Queen of England.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't watch that one, but I ain't mad at you.
We watched it in school, or some of it in school, and then we watched. I got interested in it, so I watched it, and I found it very intriguing. That like everyone was saying that she needed to marry a husband, and she was like, "Put that in the bucket of fucks that I don't care about." Like she did what she wanted to do. She
Right?
wasn't supposed to have sex. She wasn't married. She had sex. She but the one thing that I do admire throughout the whole movie is that she put her country above everything, including herself and
Hmm.
what she wanted. And when you are in a position that controls, when you are in a position, even a position um, that looks like you control it, even if you don't control it. Like President of the United States does not have as much power as everyone thinks he does, but he's in a position where it looks like he does. And she was in a position in a time where women were not in that position. So because she was the head figure of all of it, it made the country look weak. And she did not care. She did not care one lick bit, none at all. And I love that. I love it when they don't give a bucket of fucks.
You're hilarious. Uh, I mean, but that's kind of like you posed a question, and I don't know if you saw my little tag I dropped on there earlier about uh I think it was about the Charlie's Angels thing. Like somebody said, why don't we do a Charlie? I think you posted, yeah, it was something about the Charlie's Angels thing with men as basically as the Charlie's Angels, and then some guy. I'm gonna pull it up because I was like, what? Hold
Yeah,
on.
I mean, like if they're going to keep redoing movies with women in the place of men, then why can't we redo a movie with women and with men taking the place of women? I mean, because they keep speaking about and yelling about equality, but it's wrong for me to do that. If I was to do that, say if I was say I was in the movie business and I was to produce and set up a movie where men would take the place of women in Charlie's Angels, and Charlie would be a girl. Do you know how many people would lose their shit? Do you know
A
how
whole
many
lot.
people would just go crazy because you're taking away from the women? But that is modern feminism. You can empower women, but you cannot empower men.
Yeah, yeah.
and so someone made a post in this group of I'm going to BlurCon. I think I told you guys about that. But somebody made a post in the group. And the post said, um, it said, I'm gonna get like you. I want to quote this
Right.
exactly right, exactly as I read it. Go
You
ahead and get yours while I look.
I'm
You
still
get
trying
yours
to
while
find it. Still
okay,
trying to
look, I
find it.
found mine. It says, "Men!" Exclamation point. Behave yourselves at BlurCon and don't be creeps. Hold each other accountable. That is all. And my response to that was, "And women too." Let me explain. The reason why I said "and women too," and yes, we are getting off topic. I'm passionate today. The reason why I said "and women too" is because women harass men just as much as men harass women. Men just don't report it because you're going to laugh at them when they do. Historically, men are more laughed at, made fun of, and not believed when they come out and say they've been raped or harassed. So, yeah, women are the majority in all this because men are such animals. But the biggest thing is that men don't speak up because we don't take them seriously. Ever. So, when you think about it, there are probably more men being harassed than there are women. So when I add on to a PSA that you've made to an entire group of people for a convention that's known for being safe and not having harassment, they're known for always taking care of that and making sure it doesn't grow into anything. And they're also known for having a good group of people that don't harass. This is a convention that's been known that people say they feel they're most safest at. You come in here and you've been to this convention before and you post that and you don't include women. You're going to have to include women if I'm reading that. The reason why you're going to have to include women is because you cannot address one side of the issue and not expect people to come from the other side to address it. I can't just look at half of a precinct. I can't be the leader of police officers looking at half of the precinct and saying to all my white officers, let's not abuse black people today, okay?
Right. Because
I
then you're
must
gonna be
look
like,
at
what about
all of
the
my officers because white and black abuse.
Yep. Yep. Valid point. Yeah. So okay, I found it. I found it. So your man no, it wasn't him. It was Joshua Minaret or something.
Hmm.
I'm
He
trying
plays
to
devil advocate all the time. Go ahead. He don't mean no harm. He just plays devil advocate just for the fun of it.
Yeah, so and I was like, dude, this one he didn't have the full name of his show. He was like, it's something from Uncle, and I was like, it's a man from Uncle. Come on now, no, at least look it up. You can Google it. Uh, but I was like, dude, there all the shows have had men as the leads. So why does it have to be a reverse instead of just a series of great shows with strong lead women characters? Like the problem with Charlie's Angels to me has always been that the Charlie's Angels uh, is that it's Charlie's Angels, which basically said that the ladies ultimately answered to a man. How about a show with a strong background female and strong foreground female character? So why couldn't Charlie be short for like Charlotte or something, and then the other ladies still be her angels? You know what I mean? Without it going all into some crazy direction. you know and it made me think of a couple other things. I was like, because they were talking about he said something about, oh, Gerald Branch also had indicated, an all-white cast for Boys in the Hood of Minister Society, and I was like, what about the gangs of New York and all the Western movies in history? What about the Sean Penn film called Bad Boys in '93? Like, you please know what you're talking about when you post stuff like this. Like, and then the other thing it made me think of was when they did the Wiz, I think it was last year or the year before last, with Queen Latifah in it, and people lost their poop. What if we did an all white version of it for
You
the
did.
Wizard
It's
of
called
Oz?
the
And it was
Wizard
like,
of
it was
Oz.
called,
The fuck?
yeah. And I was like, come on, people,
You
really?
did that first. Didn't allow black people in it, and they made the Wiz. So
Yeah, I was like, people are so stupid sometimes. I'm just like, it I don't know if it's stupidity, misinformed, you just don't know the history. But all of those three cases are at this date and time. You can Google pretty much all of this stuff and find out the history and be able to go, oh, well, I may not make that point because that would be a stupid point to make. Really, it's crazy. And then I always talk about my little favorite movie, my fascist propaganda, the Starship Troopers. I was like, shoot, the Disney character in that movie that's a love interest was not was not even in the book in the same fashion. The girl loved the guy who was in love with somebody else, but because he couldn't be with her, he was with the girl who was in love with him, and then she gets killed. That whole little love triangle thing wasn't even in the book. None of that was in the book. But they threw that in there because what? They have to have some sort of physical relationship in order to drive a film, which they really don't. Because the premise of the movie was enough, we were attacked by another race and all humankind was against them. That was good enough reason for that movie to be a good film. But they threw this in there as a love thing, which really had no point. It didn't really serve a great purpose. Some people may have thought it did, but I was like, what? But I had read the book, so that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, get me on my rants.
It's okay. I went on my little rant. Um, but see, my thing is, I don't like it when people operate and try to broadcast plain off feelings because I can feel like I'm a millionaire all I want to. It doesn't make it a fact. So she wanted to feel important. So she posted that. And see, one thing that you gotta know about things. You saw that the post that you're referring to about Charlie's Angels?
Hmm.
There's no drama on that post. It's nice, good discussion, and it's all healthy.
Right.
Pretty much most of it. There's one troll. So the post that she made was a very unhealthy post, and I'll start off telling you guys why it initially started off unhealthy. It initially started off unhealthy is because she's addressing the people that she does not know. She's addressing people going to a convention. They're all going to be in person that she does not know. And in today's age with the Me Too movement, men are scared that they're going to do the wrong thing and they don't know it and that they're going to get in trouble. So she went into a group full of people that she did not know, was not friends with, and stated in an accusatory and aggressive manner, all men must back off of women. What do you hear when you hear that, Adair?
That just sounds like she hate men.
When you plan to go to a convention and you remember what I read, right? You
Hmm.
hear that she hates men.
Yep.
Okay. What I heard was that what I you know what I had like my mom calls them little visions and scenarios. We
Hmm.
think the worst thing that could happen. What I heard and saw was men seeing that and perceiving that as a vendetta to make a point. Like women are going to be making a point to look for shit and not just to address anything that may go wrong but they're going to make it a point to search out, look, and accuse. That
I
is
mean,
what I read, and I read that if you agree with this, then you agree to search out, look, and accuse only men of a harassment.
yeah. I can agree with that, but at the same, I guess. Well, let me. I guess I can kind of play devil's advocate here because there are those who are specifically going for that. I know you're not saying that, but there are those who that is specifically what they're doing. They're looking for an opportunity to make a scene over something that may not be that. You know what I mean? Because I've had my run-ins with some interesting people who claim some things, and I was like, wait a minute, hold up, whoa, that's not even where that was coming from. You know, and that can go not just on this particular topic. That's the I'm sure we might catch something that's some of the LGBTQ people. It's I had a lady that I worked with who I didn't know. Well, I knew her orientation, and I wasn't forcing anything in our conversations on her, no religious thing or anything like that. But at the time, I made some Valentine's Day cards. They were on my desk. She asked me, "What are those?" I said, "Oh, these are some Valentine cards that I created. And if you'd like to have one, check it out. And then if you want one, I'll sell you one for $1 or whatever." So she takes one off my desk. And about an hour and a half later, I get called into the manager's office.
No,
I
she
was
didn't.
like, huh? The manager's like, well, um, so and so. Well, no, he didn't say her name. He was like, well, we got a complaint that you were pushing religious ideas on people. It's like, what?
And
What are
she
you talking
didn't do
about?
that?
And then I saw my card on the desk, and I was like, okay, first of all, you're talking about Chanel because that was her name. I'm not gonna say her last name. And I was like, no, this is literally what happened. She asked me about them. I said, hey, if you would like one, you can take one. If not, don't worry about it. I didn't force anything. I said, why would I do that to her when I already know what her belief is? But again, you don't have to go on my desk and mess with it. You know where I stand. So what is the issue? And the manager's like, you know what? I didn't think that just didn't sound right. So, I wanted to have this conversation with you.
She,
Good night, buddy. I'm in the middle of something. Good night. Okay, close the door behind you. Sorry about that.
did she really like? She
Yeah,
asked about it. It's not like you walked up to her and said, "Hey,
right.
you want to buy these for $1?" Even then, you offered for her to buy it. And Valentine's Day isn't a religious belief; it's a
Mm,
holiday to make money.
exactly. But you know what it was is she looked in it, she saw a scripture in it, and she was offended. But again, if you didn't like it, you put it back. I didn't make you do anything with it. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, there are individuals out here that's just like the whole, Kevin Hart made some comments back in the day and he shouldn't be able to host. What? Really? Listen, I may disagree with your lifestyle. That doesn't mean that I hate you. That doesn't mean that I'm out to tear you down. I just disagree with it. And that's fine. You do you, you know,
Facts.
but
And
that's
Kevin Hart
not.
was like, y'all not about to mess with me on this. You can have your little award show.
Yeah, I mean that's literally that's why everybody's walking on eggshells. Nobody wants to say anything. Everybody's scared. And I'm like, listen, you can't live like that. You just got to live your life, and some people are going to be offended, and other people are not. And you just got to kind of, you know, make sure that when you do speak, that if you're going to say something and you're going to be worried about it coming back, then that's something you might not want to say. And that's just the real, and that's common sense. If you don't want it to come back on you, then don't say it. Plain and simple. I mean, I'm not gonna attack a specific group of people or whatever, and then wonder why they. I mean, attack is I'm going in on you, not. I mean, the whole comedian thing. I'm like, comedians don't say treat us like everybody else, and then when the comedian snaps on you, then you're gonna say, hold on, you can't talk about us. That makes no sense at all to me. You want to be treated like everybody else. I joke about everybody else, but I can't joke about you. That makes no sense. Now, yes, there can be some degrees of nastiness.
I know when it comes to
You
comedy,
know,
it's a very fine line because when it comes to comedy, everybody gets messed with to the highest of levels. If you above the age of 18,
but I mean, who was it? Key and Peele did a humorous episode where they were talking about that basically when they had oh, what was it? It was a burn victim or something guy in the audience. Peel was playing the handicap burn victim, something like I can't remember what it was, but he had like the voice box thing and all of that, and the comedian wouldn't Keegan Michael Key wouldn't snap on the guy, and he was like, no, do it, and so then when he did it, Everybody was like, oh. But then the guy who was the target of the joke, he ended up laughing about it. And it was like, yeah, you can't be so serious. If you it's a comedian, that's what they do. They're gonna find something humorous. And there's something humorous in everybody. It can be the way they look, it can be a condition, a situation, whatever. But if that's what that person is there to do, comedian is to make fun, is make fun. Again, there's the whole, you can be on left field nasty with it and that can get you in trouble. But you should be able to joke about pretty much everybody to a degree, and it shouldn't cost you your career. You know what I mean? Like, not, oh, you can't, we don't want you hosting. Really? Like, I've heard people on the other side of that, on the LGBT side, say some really raunchy, nasty jokes about straight people. So it's like, well, if you can do that, then why can't they come back? But
You know
I
what
don't
they
know
do after that when you say that? Do you know what they do?
what.
They compare it to All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter.
Which I'm
I
like,
kid you not.
and that's argument is stupid anyways. If I'm saying that Black Lives Matters, how are you arguing with me that all lives matter? I'm saying, hey, I'm just saying that my life matters too,
What
bud.
they're saying is that's the equivalent of you arguing that all lives matter when it comes to the Black Lives Matter organization. That is
It's
what they're
not,
saying.
but
It's
it's not.
not. It's not the. But especially that's what a lot of comparison that she used in her comment section. That why did you guys all lives matter this and we didn't all lives matter this? You simply addressed an issue, but you did not address the whole issue. And then she continued to go on saying the same things. And then eventually she said, "Okay, how would you have done it?" I'm glad you asked. This is how I would have done it. Hey, we everyone that comes to BlurCon needs to respect the harassment policy that we have set up. If you feel uncomfortable at any time, feel free to reach out to anyone, especially me. Her point in making that post was to say that it needed to be addressed before it happens to avoid anything. This is the third year of the con. There's never been any large issue with that, and they have a harassment policy of their own. You're not a part of the convention. You don't do anything in the convention. You're just in a group and you go to it. So explain to me how an issue needs to be addressed before it happened. She ended up causing division within the whole group that was black people and other people, other ethnicities, but it's created by with the idea of blurs. She took a whole group that was coming together and divided them based just on this one-sided statement. I said, what you could have also done. I said the second thing you could have done is once you realized that people felt some kind of way about what you posted, is you could have replied in women too. You could have just agreed that in women too. Instead, what she did when people responded that we needed to include women in that, when men are telling you that you need to include women in that because it happens to them too, she said that what we said invalidated what she said because we did not agree about how she did it. I said it did not invalidate what you said to add something to it, but she did invalidate everyone else on that post that added in women too. She invalidated what they said by saying we're not talking about women, we're not talking about women, we're talking about men. That was her response to everything. We're not talking about women, we're talking about men. She shut down closed minded, wouldn't open up. And if you want to talk about women, you can make another post. Sweetie, this is social media. In a group nonetheless. You're in a group, you're in social media, and you made a post. If you wanted this to be a private chat, you should have made it so, but you didn't. And she's telling people not to respond. You
But that
can't
don't
tell
make a post. That's I
you
don't have
can't
to. If you,
control people.
yeah, if you didn't make a post, I wouldn't be able to respond to it. Stupid.
Exactly. And so she kept repeating that we're not talking about women, we're talking about men, we're not talking about women, we're not talking about men. And she's repeatedly over and over and over again invalidating. And so now you have men that don't even want to come to the convention. I'm not kidding. They no longer want to come to the convention because they feel like that if BlurCon supported that post, then it's a one-sided issue against men. Because BlurCon said there was nothing wrong with the post. But from a man's point of view, it kind of is something wrong with the post because you're saying, and they eventually took the post down, they deleted it because it caused a lot of drama and they realized what it was doing. But throughout the whole post, you have her and other women telling men that their feelings don't matter. They're all lives mattering this because they want to address the whole situation and not just half of the situation. She's because she's only addressing half of the situation, it makes the men feel like that if they come to this convention, they got to walk on eggshells when it comes to women, and women can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And that is the issue when it comes to modern feminism.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's also this whole thing about what is it? Male toxicity, is that the term? Now I think that's the name of it. And I'm like, I don't even. This stuff is so crazy now, because I guess for me, one of the craziest things that I noticed or that I watched was, you a guy sees somebody, he says, "Hey, you look nice." She doesn't like him, doesn't think he's attractive, and then she says, "Oh, he's harassing me." That's crazy, but that's not how that's supposed to work. It's supposed to work if you say, "Get away from me, stay on my face, don't like you." Now, if I say something more, now it's harassment. I don't know you from Adam when I make the initial comment. So it couldn't be harassment on an initial comment unless I'm saying something really raunchy. But if I say, "Hey, you look nice," that's not harassment. I'm just giving you a compliment. But at the same time, you get people who say, "Well, why you compliment me? What is this?" And it just goes left, and it goes way way out of the realm of, it's not even civil anymore because it's you. I don't know why you felt the need to take it there, but it all of that is, I don't know. It's all crazy to me. So all I can say is I'm glad that I'm married. And I just try not to. I'm like, I can't even say somebody look nice because then they might think I'm trying to pick them up. I'm like, I'm happily married. I can say you look nice and not be trying nothing. Like that doesn't mean that I'm interested in you in that way. You look nice. I don't know how people go past that,
I
but they
have
do.
I have a question. No matter what, we're going to keep doing this movie podcast, even if we skip a week or two.
Hmm.
I love movies. You love movies. Mama Tay loves movies. We're going to do this no matter what. But I do have a question. I
What
like
up?
the way you discuss these things. And I am starting a second podcast. It's called The Great Experiment.
Hmm.
And on that podcast, there will be a large amount of controversial issues. How do you feel about discussing those?
It's all, I'm always down to do a little something, something. If I can contribute, I would do
Okay,
my best to represent well and not try to get nothing, nigga, no trouble, no unnecessary drama started because drama is not even necessary. Can we just, discuss the situations with some healthy common sense? Like, it's
thank you. And that is what I'm saying. Everything, we're referencing back to that issue. Everything that she did was illogical and off of emotion based on other conventions that had issues. It had nothing to do with anything that had happened at BlurCon. It had nothing to do with any logical. There was no logical thought in her head, and I told her that, and she said that's not true. I said okay. She was not being logical at all in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And this is how you know when you're being logical because I made a post to counter her post. And yes, we are supposed to be talking about movies, but I'm passionate today, so deal with it, people. Not you, Adair. If you're uncomfortable, you can say so. Them aren't watching.
go ahead. You funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You're making me laugh though.
It's just me being me. I said my post was because after they deleted her post, she posted another post, and her post said, "So y'all really deleted my post." To her, she said that's invalidated everything that she was saying, and she's saying that you don't support women and harassing women. Basically, is what she said. And then you have people jumping on the post and women panicking, like, I don't know if I want to go, what do we do if they delete stuff like that? How do they even take reports seriously? And this and this. She literally created a whole panic in the group. I'm not kidding. So I countered that with, yo, y'all need to chill. You're creating a panic when there is no need for one, because what did he say in Men in Black? A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals.
Mm.
And so, they're acting like sheep right now. So I got to call them on it. So I said, you're creating a panic when there is no need for one. People are wondering, will I be safe if the con deleted the post? Yes, you will be safe. This con has a good reputation, have a great reputation for safety. It's obvious the BlerdCon staff worked hard to build a healthy community. Please don't ruin it with speculation. Thank you, fellow Blerd. And then anyone that commented on that, countering in an antagonizing way, guess what I did? Yes.
What you do?
Blocked them. Because I'm not about the drama. Unlike her, she sat on her post arguing and kept saying, okay, I'm done, and coming back and commenting, I'm done coming back. I'm done coming back. And then when that ended, when they took that from her, she created another section with over 300 to 400 comments of drama. I'm not kidding. When they took her little it thing, her little whatever she created, they took that away from her. She made another one. And she went on from that. And then she went down to other people's posts like mine and started commenting on our posts. But you're done, right? You don't have to explain yourself, right? Because you're done. No, you're not. If you were done, you'd be like me and you'd block anyone who came at you in an antagonizing manner. There were people that disagree with me that I did not block, but they did it in a healthy way. There will not be anything toxic on my post, and there will not be any drama on my post, because I'm actually setting up a con crawl, 2 days, a bar crawl and a hotel con crawl for Friday and Saturday of the event. What does it look like? And I'll run a chat for people to join for parties and other activities within the event. What does it look like if I'm doing all of that and I'm wrapped up in your drama?
Yeah. It wouldn't look good at all. It wouldn't look good at all. But I mean, that's the thing. There are those individuals who that's all they have is nothing, and they want to start something because that's the way they get their attention. Like you said, if the Blerd event has a good harassment policy already in place, the first issue to me is, lady, did you read what the policy was?
It's something that you have to check before you even purchase your ticket.
But you know what? Many people check stuff all the time and they don't read it.
But see, most conventions have a harassment policy.
But nobody reads. I'm going to the convention. I need to check this box to be able to get this ticket. I'm gonna check this box. I'm just saying. I'm not. I know you're aware, but I'm saying that a lot of people. It's just like you get a new cell phone. all that stuff. Don't nobody read all that stuff. They don't read all of that stuff. 98 pages of stuff. Nobody reads that. They just sign it and okay, give me my new phone, please, because I need.
Wait, I do read it now because Best Buy screwed me over once. But continue.
Right, but until you have an event that causes you to stop, most people just zoom through it, check the box or sign, I'm out. And then what'll happen is something go wrong with the phone and you have some problems with the phone company, and then they don't want to give you your money back. And you be like, well, I'm gonna take y'all to court. I'm like, nope. Because guess what? In section 38 on page 96 is a clause that said you agreed to go to arbitration instead of going directly to court. So you can't just go to court. You got to go to arbitration first.
The heck is arbitration?
That's where you give them you and the offended party and the offender have to have like a meeting and maybe discuss it and figure out if y'all can come to some other agreement. So you can't just go to court. You gotta have an arbitrator be the middle person to get y'all on the same page and to come to some agreement. You can't just go straight to court.
Also, you gotta see if you can settle out first.
Yeah, pretty much. And that has become huge in the past 3 to 5 years, if not 10, over the last 10 years. That's been how, I mean, like, all the stuff where, the super large companies. I was just watching something on 60 Minutes a Day. The guy who is leading the charge against the opioid companies up in Ohio, he's the same guy who led against the tobacco companies back in the day and won the case. And you know what he did was basically go to the court of public opinion first to force the companies to settle, and that's his plan now for the opioid companies. Is to try to do the same playbook, because, like, they were talking about, one of the things with opioids is it's a controlled substance, right? So if it's a controlled substance, there are laws in place that says you have to basically be able to control and say, we provided, we put it in a truck and dropped it here. And now once we turn it over to them, then they're responsible for who they gave it to. But here's the question. One of the things said they had 9 million opioid pills delivered to a little small town. And I was like, that number doesn't even make sense. Even if everybody in the town was injured, why would you need 9 million pills? It's stupid. There's no way you can say that you didn't know that something was wrong with the 9 million pill order to one city. It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
But but that's where we are. Like, not just, I mean, that's a whole nother, you know, topic or another situation to discuss. But that's where we are. There are things in place people don't read, and then they create an unnecessary sense of urgency that doesn't exist. But then you have the other sheeple who also don't read, and they just go, well, you didn't say anything against it, or you're not in agreement with it, so you must have a problem. Well, we don't even have to do that because we already have something in place. So there's no reason for us to respond to something that is unnecessary. So I personally say I'm glad that they struck down the or took down the post, because it doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for it. It's unnecessary. And she just wanted attention. And then when she couldn't get the attention that she wanted or keep the attention, she started badgering other people.
It was completely unnecessary. I ended up blocking her when she commented on my post because she wanted to continue that discussion. She wasn't going to get that out of me. I don't have the energy nor the time to care.
And one of the things, like, I think when we first started, they even discussing doing the podcast. I know you were doing the other podcast, and we were talking about people's frame of reference. I don't know if you remember me mentioning that. And I was like, part of the issue is today, in this social media driven society, is people assume that their frame of reference, what they've experienced, is all that exists. And what someone else has experienced is just not real. That doesn't happen, which is so crazy to me. I can say, hey, I've never had that experience. So, wow, I'm surprised that you've experienced that. But I can't say that your experience, not your thoughts about what might happen, but your actual experience didn't happen. You know what I mean? So, like, if she'd have said, I went to this and this occurred, then that's a different debate. But like you said, she's speculating on something that hasn't happened. So that doesn't make any sense.
It did not. It does not. And that is the people are like, this needs to be addressed. You have one half of people, this needs to be addressed, and you have the other half of people yelling, yes, it does need to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed as a whole. And the people that were saying this needs to be addressed were telling the other people that this basically they were saying is more important to address it when it comes to women than anyone else.
But you
And
know, I guess my only thing in regards to that is the perception has been, and I don't know why. Um, just because that Me Too movement has happened and it has made its way through the media, and there are some figures who have gotten away with it forever and are sort of, not everybody, but some of them are sort of paying the cost. But the presumption is that this has only happened to women, like you were saying earlier, is interesting. Um, I mean, because I don't know. I guess like I probably would laugh if some dude said, "Hey, man, this lady's harassing me." I probably would at first. Like, what? Psh, please, man, you over there tripping. You know you like it. That's probably would be my response. I'm not even gonna lie. I would be like, yeah, whatever. Because I would, in my mind, I would be thinking, you had to do something to make her think that you like. That would be my initial response. I can honestly say that as a man. But then I would think after making that comment, I would be like, oh, wait a minute, because that's probably what women have experienced all the time. Hmm. Okay, wait. So, okay, let's back up. So, what actually happened, my man? Tell me what happened. Okay, and you let her know that you weren't interested, but she continued. Okay, yeah, that's harassment, man. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I laughed. I was wrong. But some people don't have the wherewithal to catch themselves and say, hold on, wait, I might be making an assumption here that's erroneous. So let me back up, get more of the facts, and make a better educated response to what you are telling me. Because to me, I think that's one of the issues that we face today is people don't want to admit that they're wrong. They never want to admit they're wrong. I mean, look at who's in I'm not even going there. Uh but that's a big thing too, is nobody wants to admit that they're wrong or that they made a wrong judgment. They rushed to judgment, based off of what they thought they heard or what they heard but maybe possibly misunderstood, you know, and that creates a whole nother cascade of events that can be even more detrimental down the road when you could really just come back and say, you know what, I was wrong on that. So let's do this to address that situation.
yeah, and I totally agree. A lot of time it's pride. A lot of time it's pride, and then people don't want to admit that they didn't think about certain things. They don't want to come off as dumb, and they don't want to come off as wrong. Um, but it's important in times like this where we have the LGBT community with such a loud voice. Like you can disagree with them all you want to, but fact is they're staying here and they're not going anywhere. So you
Yeah,
can disagree and respect them as human beings at the same time. You can
right,
disagree with anyone. If you could disagree with me on a movie, then you can disagree with them on their sexual orientation. Why is that your business anyway?
right.
So my thing is, with so much of that going on, you cannot honestly, you cannot as a person, and not just that. This convention is huge on acceptance and tolerance. So much so that the BlurCon people have partnered with the LGBT community. So when you have that, two minority communities coming together on an issue, you just cannot address one half. You cannot tell men that they haven't been harassed. You especially cannot tell gay men that they have not been harassed. I don't know about gay women. They have probably been harassed by men that tell them they haven't had a good men.
Mm.
That's why they're gay. I mean, they do run
I've
across
heard
it,
that.
but
I,
you cannot look at the LGBT community and tell them they're not that they have not been harassed. But
true.
if I take the LGBTQ off and I put straight male, all of a sudden it becomes different. No, it's for everyone. It's about inclusion and it's about treating everyone equally. And modern feminists, if you wanted to be treated equally so bad, here damn is. This latest wave of feminism that was unnecessary, this is what you wanted. Accept it. You can't pick and choose when it's okay to be feminist or pick and choose when it's okay to be equal. It's going to be equal on both sides. You can't harass men, men can't harass you. If you're going to address the issue, address both. You cannot laugh at men when they say they've been harassed. You cannot treat them as a joke when they've said they've been harassed. And there are so many more men that have not come forth and said anything about harassment or being felt uncomfortable because they don't feel like they have that luxury. Women do. A woman can say that she was raped by a man, and social media and everyone else will convict them before they even get the facts.
Yeah. Yep. And that was happening before social media.
Yeah, what was that? The Central Park Five that came out. I
Oh,
myself don't watch movies like that because I don't want to be angry at white people all the time. Um, but yeah, Central Park Five, and then we have what was that boy?
but you know, now even with the Central Park fire situation, I mean, definitely there were Caucasians who did not do their job, but there were some African American people that were depicted. Now, I don't know specifically, but the way it was depicted in the film, there were some who didn't do their job as well and did not do their job in a professional manner. Because I watched the first part, and then it took me a couple of days before I got around to finish watching the whole series. And the thing that was interesting to me, um, I couldn't say it's interesting, but the way I've noticed it for years is the jump to conclusion. You know, well, because they said they were doing this, then they had to be doing that as well, even though there was so many facts that didn't line up. Now, there's been some backlash and some people saying, and that's not really what happened, and all of this, that, and the other, and you know, King Orange made his little plea to the papers and all of that stuff, even after the people was exonerated. Somebody who came along and said, "No, I actually did it, and I was by myself when I did it. I didn't even know these dudes. I knew about them once I got to jail, after I got in trouble, after I got caught, but I didn't know about them. They didn't know me, you know." And that's always it. What's funny to me is in those situations you can't take the word of the criminal there who's telling you, "Hey, I did it all on my own." But when somebody is in jail for something they didn't do, you can still take the word of another criminal who says they're snitching on them. "No, yeah, he told me he did it." But the person who he said that he did it is constantly telling you, "I didn't do it." That doesn't that whole uh logic doesn't make sense. Okay, you can take the jailhouse snitch when he's saying he did it, but you can't take it when or you know what I'm saying, like you don't want to believe him when he said he did it, but you'll believe him when he said that the other person did it. You can't, again, this goes back, you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to you're going to use a criminal to catch a criminal, but at the same time, you're not going to use the criminal to free somebody who's innocent, who's maintained their innocence for years. You know, like the situation where the one guy was like, "I ain't even going down there to the meeting because y'all they don't want to hear what I got to say. They want me to admit to something I didn't do. So why am I going to waste their time or my time?" And I was like, "Yeah, I understand where he's coming from. I get it." But there's so many people. Just admit that you did. Why would I admit? The man was, this boy hadn't even. He just came to the police station. He wasn't even. He didn't even go out to the park.
What?
He just came to the police station to have his boys back, and ended up spending years in jail. Way more time than everybody else. That's what was so crazy to me.
He wasn't
And
even in the park.
no. And then the boy couldn't read or write. But they said he wrote out. Oh well, first they said he wrote out the admitting that he did it, the confession. And then they said, no, he dictated it and then he just signed it. I'm like, y'all stories don't even make sense. When you hear the man talking, he said, I can't even read what's on this paper. And now your story, oh no, he dictated. No, you said he wrote this confession. Now you saying he dictated. No. Why did your story change when we realize that he can't read?
Wait, the boy couldn't read, and how the heck he write a statement and he can't
It-
read?
that's what I'm saying. Their story changed in court. He said, you is this your statement? Read what it says. Uh I can't read that good. Oh, well, y'all said he wrote this. No, sir. No, he dictated the statement. But that whole situation was another classic example of the whole institutional, racism deal and the negative effects on black and brown people. That was a great example of how the system has done for years. There are so many cases that have been overturned, I don't know, in the last 20 years through the Freedom Project and stuff like that, that address this exact issue. But it's still people who say, oh, that doesn't happen. That doesn't. ah, what? That's not. That's not what happens. That's not real. But there are so many cases that have been overturned that shows that people were doing dirt. Cops weren't doing their jobs. They were just looking for somebody to blame, and they found the first person they could that was of color and blamed it on them. Another great example of that is Hurricane Carter. I don't know if you know about him, or if you saw the movie. Denzel Washington played him. He was a boxer back in the, I don't know, I think it was the 60s, 70s, early 70s. I mean, the man was good, and him and his friend was, I think, a runner or something like that, and they were out somewhere, and they had a white car, I forget what it was, a Cadillac or something like that, and there was a bar where some guys came in, shot up the bar, and the last guy who survived until who was able to give a description, the only thing they could tell was the type of car. And he even described the men. They brought Hurricane and his friend in. The man on his dying bed said, "That's not them. They weren't the ones." And then the man died, and the police put Hurricane Carter and his buddy in jail.
What?
It's played out in the movie exactly how it happened in real life. I'm sure somebody will dispute that and say, "Well, no, they were convicted, but they shouldn't have had to go when a person's dying declaration, whether in writing or verbally, is their last word. And if the man said that ain't who did it, they should have been allowed to go free. But that ain't what happened. And there's so many examples of that, but people still, you know, they don't want to admit that there's an issue. I was talking with family today, and we were discussing. I think recently they were talking about the Philando Castile situation and how the officer was, exonerated. And I was like, wow, how is he exonerated? After now they released the footage afterwards, all of the footage, and it shows. And I had a discussion with my brother about this, being former law enforcement, and I was like, I don't understand. So this man gets pulled over for some sort of traffic violation. The officer shows up at the car with his gun drawn for a traffic violation. This is an issue that people don't understand. My question is, why is your gun pointed at me for a traffic violation? If you were that fearful, this isn't the job for you. You're pulling me over because either I didn't stop at a stoplight or a stop sign. My tags were out of date. These are civil violations that should not end in my death. Okay, that's a ticket. That's a piece of paper. You could walk up with the paper in your hand, ready to hand it to me, because you got all my information when you ran my plates. So you know my name, you know who I should be, and when you confirm that that's who I am, you just give me the piece of paper and let me move on about my business. But that's not what happened. So they asked him for his ID and information. He said, "Yes, okay." And then he said, "I just want to let you know, officer, that I do have a weapon in the car in the glove compartment."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And immediately the officer says, "That's fine. Don't reach for it." And you hear him say, "I'm not reaching for it. I'm getting my paper that you asked me for, my identification, my insurance. That's what I'm getting you." And the officer immediately goes, "Don't reach for it. Don't reach for it." His partner's standing on the other side of the car. His partner doesn't even have his gun drawn. And he's looking in the car.
He's
So
telling
why?
you beforehand that he has papers in the glove compartment.
No, no,
But
no, no, no,
also
no.
tell him to have a gun in the glove compartment.
He has the gun in the glove compartment, but the papers aren't in the glove compartment.
Oh, where are they at?
They're somewhere on his person. But because he's reaching for something, he's not reaching toward the glove compartment where the gun is. Why are you in such a frenzy? Why are you ready to kill this man? And it's the weaponization of black and brown people. Because why is your gun drawn in the first place? There's no reason for that. Your partner in the video, his partner does not even have his gun drawn. And his partner's on the other side of the car looking through the car. So if you were so nervous and you saw something to be nervous about, why wouldn't your partner see it? And why wouldn't your partner's gun be drawn? This man is in the car with his woman and a kid in the back of the car. Why are you pointing a gun at this man? One reason, you showed up at the car with your gun drawn because of his complexion, his ethnicity. Two, you pulling me over for a traffic stop. I still don't understand why you got the gun. The third thing is he didn't have to tell you that he had a gun. Now, some people argue that he should, but here's the thing:
I
if I
don't
don't
agree.
if I don't tell you that I got a gun in the car, then you're less likely to kill me because you're not going to feel threatened if you don't know it's there. So I'm not going to tell you that. What I'm going to do, what you're supposed to do, is give them your ID, and if you have a license to carry card, you give them that and allow them to ask the question: do you have the weapon in the car? Okay, because what they're supposed to say is, okay, for your safety and mine, would you mind stepping out of the car, sir? That way you
But
don't
if
have
it was a
access to
traffic
the
stop,
weapon.
it wouldn't even got to that.
Huh?
If it was just a traffic stop and
It
he told
should.
him why he pulled him over, I wouldn't even mention the gun.
Exactly.
Not part of the discussion at all.
Exactly. But depending on what state you're in, if you have a if you have a license to carry, you are supposed to present that to the officer.
Okay.
But telling him that he was already agitated when he came to his window because you got a gun pointed at my face. Why would I, as the passenger, as the person in the car, the driver, not be in fear for my life when you're pointing a gun at my face? I'm gonna be like, I've been pulled over many times for nothing, and only once have I had an officer point a gun at me. Okay, and I was like, why are you pointing a gun at me? I'm gonna ask that question. Why are you pointing? Why you got your hand on your gun? What are you pulling me over for? You were speeding. This happened to me in Jennings, going up Jennings Station Road behind three cars. It's a one lane road going in, one lane going up, one lane coming down. I'm behind three vehicles. How am I speeding? If I'm speeding, I'm in somebody's trunk. That's an accident. I'm going uphill in a Chevette. Do you know what the officer ended up saying his real reason for pulling me over for was?
Like in the wrong type of car?
No. I'm in a Chevette, a gold Chevette. Okay? At the time. His reason for pulling me over, my seat was reclined.
Yo, what?
Dead serious.
Well, it's better than my mom. They pulled her over because I think she had a hat on and she was driving an Oldsmobile.
Okay, and what does that got to do with anything? That's what I'm saying. Like the
Black,
reasons for pulling
black
me over
driver
are
with a hat
stupid.
on an Oldsmobile. My mom finally had to ask. My mom finally had to ask because she was continuously pulled over in this car. Like we got pulled over a lot. And she was like, finally, she said, "Officer, what am I doing that you continuously pull me over and I'm obeying the law?" And he said, "Honestly, ma'am, it's your car. You have a car that's stolen a lot."
But that still makes no sense.
It doesn't. And he said,
You have the model of car that's stolen a lot, and so we're gonna pull over anybody with this model of car.
"No, no, no. She has the model car that's stolen a lot. She's black and she's wearing a hat. That's why she was pulled over." They don't include the little black part because that's police harassment.
Okay, but again, that I don't even want to go into that. That's just, I'm still trying to understand. You left that even with leaving that part out. Okay, listen. I know that y'all system keep records of how many times y'all pull somebody over. This is stupid. This is one of those times when that's been the case, I would start asking for badge numbers. Let me get your badge number. Okay. So officer badge number so and so pulled me over on this date, and this was the reason he gave me. And then next time I get pulled over, if they give me the same reason, okay, this is badge number so and so. This is what they gave me, and then I'm going in to file a complaint. Listen, I'm not the only person in this city with this model of car. So I want to know how many other people with this model of car in the city have been pulled over in this area. I need to know this because I feel like something else is happening. Because I done got pulled over a whole lot. I've gotten pulled over when I worked a delivery job where I mean these officers think on their feet quick. Let me give you the logic they gave. Now I see the officer coming. I just made a delivery. Okay. No, I think I was making a pickup. I was picking up a package from one location, had to take it to another. And the officer, I saw him coming. He rolled behind me for a good half mile before he pulled me over. I ain't speeding. I'm down in South County near the Bayless area, Bayless, Hancock area, my old school grounds. Officer pulls me over. I got a big sticky in my window with the name of the delivery company that I work for, and I got a walkie-talkie in the car. So I'm like, hey, he asked for my information. I gave him my paperwork. He looked. I said, officer, was I speeding? No, no. We just have had a recent rash of robberies where people are posing as delivery drivers. Really?
Lies. I
Really?
call bull crap.
I got pulled over in Blackjack many years ago. I think what was
Wow,
I
man,
driving?
who's driving in blackjack?
I was in, huh?
They don't even sound like a place a brown person should be driving in.
I mean, that's where my brother and them live. They live over there. They all lived over in the House Ferry area, for a while. I mean, it's still the same area. But anyway, I got pulled over one night because I'm driving and I forget where I was trying to go, and I made a wrong turn. So I went down this street and I was like, whoa, this does not look like where I'm trying to go. So I turn around and come back out the street. Here come the police. Whoop, whoop. What you doing out here? I'm driving.
No, I'm sorry to pause you, but you know what that just made me think of?
What?
Cat Williams, when he put his son on that ADD medication on
Yeah,
Ritalin, and he said, "What you thinking about?" He said,
running. Yeah, I mean, it's like, because this is the thing. Here's the thing, and it's not a matter of people think that if you don't give the police officers the truthful answer of where you're going, the specifics, that you're doing something wrong. I don't have to tell you where I'm going. That's none of your business. I'm driving. That's all I'm doing. There's nothing wrong with me driving. Nothing at all. That's why I have a car and a license and insurance so that I can drive my car anywhere I want to. And I'm not obligated to tell you where specifically I am going. That's none of your business. Is there a reason that you pulled me over? You say I fit the description. Okay, run your check. Nothing? Thank you. Have a good night. I'm out.
Deuces.
I mean, because that's just the thing. Where are you going? I'm going to my brother's house. I don't know. What you gonna do? You gonna follow me? What you follow me? Now pull over. Well, why'd you pull over? Why are you following me? Well, you said you was going there. You don't need to know where I'm going. That's none of your business. Is that your job? To just follow people? That's not your job. Your job is to respond when somebody is doing something criminal or when somebody calls you in need of assistance. I didn't call you. Don't follow me. I don't need you doing it. You're making me nervous. I feel like you're harassing me. Where's your commanding officer? I need you to call him and have him come here. No, because you're harassing me. Because there's no reason for you. Oh, I'm just driving the same way you're going. No, that's not true. Because I've made 5 turns and you've been exactly on my tail in 5 turns. You can't possibly be going where I'm going because you don't know where I'm going.
Exactly. And you're running my plates looking for something. Did you know my mom got arrested for a trash ticket for one of those? Now we were living in the house. The house was in my mom and this lady's name because we my mom and another lady decided to pull together as friends and raise their children together and live in the house as a family. My mom, another lady, and my aunt. The
Hmm.
other lady did something. She was their responsibility to handle the trash, and
Hmm.
they left the trash out an extra day. The trash can. You know, in St. Louis County, that don't really fly, especially in North County.
Leaving
So,
the trash can sitting like in the driveway or out on the street.
you know where they come and get it. The trash people come and pick it up out
Right.
there on the curb.
Right.
So we got a ticket.
Uh,
Wasn't even my mom was working 2 jobs at the time, by the way. This lady was only working one. And she was at the house all the time. My mom was barely at the house and she was asleep most of the time when she was. Not even kidding. And so my mom gets pulled over on her way from her second job. She's been working all day and she gets arrested for a trash ticket that she had nothing to do with. They put a warrant out for her over a trash ticket.
when it was that in one of the municipalities?
Delwood.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Whew. Yeah. Okay, that's all you had to say. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
We have never. I don't even like driving through Delwood now. You will never catch me in Delwood.
Yeah, that's because that's that stretch like along West Florissant where that soccer place is. I don't know what it's called now. It's like the soccer and used to be the big Snooks right there, and the photo place was over there. Oh, what's the name? It used to be a Pantera's Pizza and all of that. Like in between, um, what is that? Is that Luke? That's not Luke's. That's Chambers and 270 area, right?
Mm.
I'm trying to remember if I'm thinking of the right area because
Spanish
that's
Lake, what it sound like? Spanish Lake or the edge of Hazelwood.
yeah, yeah. That's still. I mean, Dalewood was one of those places I wouldn't try and do. I mean, it's like I had to go through Jennings to get somewhere a lot of times, and depending on when I left. If I left with a whole lot of time, I could drive around 70 to 270 to get on over the Halls Ferry. But why do that when I go down West Florissant? So I would run through Jennings. But that's a whole that's that. But when after Ferguson, there was a that whole Mike Brown situation and all the burning and all of that. There
Did you
was a
spend a lot
document,
of time telling people
huh?
that Ferguson? Did you spend a lot of time telling people that Ferguson isn't even that big of a county?
I did. I had a lot of people who thought Ferguson was so far away from the city of St. Louis. I was like, no, it's. I'm like, listen, it's like, yeah. Explain to people here in Houston. I was like, I was like, like how Houston is such a flat. It's a flat city, but it's spread out. I was like, so Ferguson is like on the outskirts of the St. Louis city, but it's considered the county, but it's just like barely like outside the city limits. And then there's like 20 other little bitty municipalities that are all like bunched up right against each other. I was like, yeah, I used to drive through there all the time. I was like, and then I was like, they were showing this is what tickled me. The news was showing the liquor store at West Florissant and Kings Highway being
Florissant.
kicked in. Yeah, as like it was Ferguson. I was like, those aren't even the same places. I was like, that's Florissant, and then that's Ferguson. That's two different like locations. Like, but they were,
Happened in Florissant, right on the edge of Delwood. That's where the riot happened.
yeah,
It was not in Ferguson at all.
yeah. I spent some time, not per se explaining it away, but just trying to give people a better spatial awareness of what was happening. Because I was like, man, this is crazy, and I was just like, after all of that went down, there was a news thing. I don't want to say it was a documentary or some sort. I can't remember what it was, but they were talking about how like the people in Ferguson and all those little municipalities, what was happening, how the county, the little county governments were basically like double and triple hitting people for the same thing. So if you were driving through, uh, what's the little area where Lucas and Hunt runs, right off of 70 coming towards West Florissant, and what is that called? Like something hills or whatever that is,
I
right
know what
there. Yeah, so if they were driving through there and they got pulled over for a ticket, right, and got a ticket for out of date tags, then they would have to drive, further down West Florissant and go through Ferguson. Well, the officer in that little county would call the officer that he knows in Ferguson and say, "Hey, so and so is rolling through. They got tags that are jacked." So then they would get pulled over again. So they get two tickets for the same thing. So then, you got to go to court in both of those locations for the same thing, but you can only go to one, and the court's on the same day. So then the other court issue a warrant for your arrest because you was at this court taking care of your ticket over here, but you couldn't take care of the one over there. So then they come and lock you up. They issue a warrant for you because they got a warrant at this one because you weren't able to come to court that day because you was at court over there. So then they lock
Oh,
you up, and then you lose your job and you lose your housing and all of that. And then they like, well, you should have took care of the ticket.
or you can get like me. I don't go to court. I hire traffic lawyers. What I look like going to court when I can pay a traffic lawyer between $35 and $90 to go to court for me. Cha.
Yeah. I mean, but
So
everybody,
you gotta
everybody.
have everybody not like me. Everybody don't have my resources, but they advertise. Traffic lawyers advertise everywhere. I mean, I didn't even think about it till my grandpa told me on my first ticket. He said, "Baby, get a traffic lawyer." I got a traffic lawyer. Didn't have to step into court.
And that's a good thing, but at the same time, if even though they're in a different municipality, all the records run through the same system, right? So if I just got pulled over and I'm on my way to work, right? I'm on my way to work, and this officer just pulled me over in Delwood, great example, and I work somewhere in Blackjack, okay? And y'all running the same system. You saw that I just got this ticket 10 minutes ago. Why are you issuing me another ticket for the exact same thing? How is it even possible that I could have addressed that ticket that I just got 10 minutes ago? That's an unnecessary burden on people. There's no way that you can even address it. Like there's no, you know.
But check this out. I got pulled over by a police officer for following too closely. I was actually trying to keep up with a friend who was driving really fast. And so I got pulled over, and of course, that friend's an asshole, so he didn't stop along with me. He just kept driving. And I get pulled over, and the cop pulls me over for following too closely. And then when he gets me pulled over, he realizes that my tags are expired.
Ooh.
Now I already had new tags. I had new license plate stuff. What happened is I couldn't figure out how to get the freaking. They forced me to get new plates. I didn't have a choice.
Hmm.
I couldn't figure out how to get the freaking plates off the car because of the screws, and couldn't find a screwdriver to fit it.
Mm.
So he gives me a ticket for both
Ooh.
because he's
That's
a yeah. So and then a few days later, I'm doing DoorDash. I still don't have the plates on the car, but I put
mm-mm.
them in the back window at least.
Oh
He
no,
gives
because now you got
me
two
a ticket
different plates.
for not displaying my plates,
Yep.
not for them being expired. So I had them in my back window and in my front window at least, trying to make sure I didn't get another ticket. Another police officer pulled me over, and when I explained to him what was wrong, he and two other police officers proceeded to help me take the plates off and put the right plates on the car.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like some of these officers don't understand that the protecting and serving, the serving part, they're all about the protecting part. But then the issue is what are you protecting from? Like, are these plates causing somebody danger? Is somebody's life in danger because your plates are not quite right? Like you can check all the information. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you do got the rights. Okay, cool. Okay, well look, just get that address. Because I've had some great officers and I've had some buttholes. I've had some great ones and I've had some buttholes. And I've had the butthole that says you lying. Why you lying? And I've had officers that says, okay, no problem. You know what? You check out. Go ahead and handle your business. Just get that address. And that and to me, the officer who took their time for you to listen to what you had to say, understand the issue that you were having, and said, you know what, we're gonna take care of that for you. That's part of the serving the community that they're supposed. That should be higher on the list of things to do than to draw guns on people for nothing, for nothing at all. You know, it's crazy. It's so out of control. And that brings me back to what I was saying earlier was we were talking about this and I was like, I can't remember what I was watching, but I just saw this thing the other day. I was some video and they were explaining, they were saying, the problem with the whole police shooting people down is every time that happens, we always talk about education. We need to train the officers or we need to train the people on how to deal with the officers. It's like, no, 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 no. When Philando Castile got killed, his girlfriend sitting in the car still had the conscious of mind to speak to the officer in understanding his authority. Sir, why did you do this? Sir. Oh, I know what it was. It was Trevor Noah was saying this. And I was like, for somebody that's a comedian to really address this issue, I was like, man, I love this dude. But he was saying she still had the conscious of mind to respect this man's authority, even after watching her man just get shot in front of her and her child. She still was, sir, why did you do that? He was doing what you asked him to do. There was no reason for you to shoot him. Sir, why did you do that? And then the officer started telling her, don't reach. She's lucky she's alive because he could have shot her and said, hey, they started reaching.
Kids in the car. That's what's really truly messed up about that. They had children in the car.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen several videos. There was a video down here in Texas, in the Dallas area. This brother is him, his wife, their kids in the car. They're on their way to somebody's house. The police pulled them over. The girl hit the wife gets on the phone and says, hey, we're on our way. The police officer just pulled us over. We don't know why. She's on the phone. She's like, I need somebody to come down here. The officer hears her say that, and then the officer goes off. What? You calling people to come? No, 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 you can't do that. And then the guy's like, what? Why are you pulling me over? And he's like, something to do with his plates. I don't remember if it was his tags were out of date or something like that. And he was like, okay, that's fine. Give me my ticket. No, get out of the car. For what? Get out of the car. And the thing about it is, you yelling at me, get out of the car. Now, me, I'm gonna get out the car, but I'm gonna do it real slow. I'm gonna be like, you just asked me to get out of the car. Okay. I need you to calm down so that I can get out of the car and not die today. I'm gonna say that clearly, so it's on your recorder. Okay, I'm gonna say that because I'm not trying to die today. But I'm gonna be wanting to. If it's a traffic violation, why can't you just write me the ticket? Now, what this brother did was he rolled his window up and wanted to hand his stuff out the window. So then the officer busts his window and gonna yank him out the car. Now that's a whole lot of unnecessary crap to go through. Because for some reason these brothers are feeling like, you know what, I can do what I see these Caucasian boys do and talk to the police any old kind of way and nothing's gonna happen to me. And yeah, you might have a case for it, but chances are, since there has been no real amount of accountability, you're gonna get beat up in front of your family, and then you're gonna pay a fine and a fee for getting beat up. And the officer is not gonna have any repercussions. So don't act the butt. I tell you, don't act the butthole with the officers. You wanna get home. You wanna make it home. Get home safely and then file your complaint. But but the problem is, I lost my train of thought.
The
What was
problem, officers, you want to get home, don't argue.
well, well, no, well, we were originally talking about, um, you know, everything going left when you're dealing with these officers. The thing about it is somebody has to be the adult, and as a black or brown person, you have to always be cognizant that you know what, I can die today if this officer feels threatened. Even if I'm not doing anything, like I tell you all the time, I'm 6'3", 300 pounds. If I die, the first thing they're gonna say is, "Look at how big he was. I felt my life was in danger." So my job, even though it's really not my job, is to make him feel like I'm the most meek and humble person he's ever met in his life. So he doesn't feel the need to touch his weapon, so that he doesn't feel threatened. He or she, as an officer, I've seen some I've seen some videos where the women officers are off the chain too. I'm like, wow, wow, why are you clowning this man like that? You know, and I'm like, it just doesn't have to be that way. But I know what it was. My original point was, without the accountability, there's not going to be a change. We always talk about educating the officers and saying, okay, we need to train the officers better and we need to weed the people out. But here's the problem. If none of the officers who do these types of things are ever held accountable, then the people coming in still feel like, "Hey, nothing's going to happen to me. I got that blue wall." And then people say, well, there's no such thing as a blue wall. Well, here's the problem. If there are cops who are killing people for nothing, and then there are cops who see that the people are doing nothing and say nothing, what makes you different from the cops who are committing the crimes? That's the problem. And if you say, well, if you snitch on this officer, then nobody's going to have your back. No, that shouldn't even be the culture. The culture should be, I'm doing my job, you have my back for doing my job. But if you're doing your job and you do something erroneous, you have to pay the response, you have to pay the cost for that. You have to be held accountable for that because you did wrong. Your initial response to any situation, unless you hear that there has been gunfire or there's been a weapon involved, should not be to draw your gun and point it at anybody's face. Because as a civilian, I was brought up being told you don't point a gun at someone unless you're planning on using it. So if you're a police officer, and that's what I was brought up with, and I'm not a police officer, my assumption is if you're pointing a gun at me, your plan is to figure out some way to kill me. You're planning to use it.
There's
And
no other reason to pull it out.
yeah, there's no reason for you to pull a gun. Not on no traffic stop. Well, officers gotten killed over the years. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant because I'm not presenting a threat to you. If my size is a threat to you, this is not the job for you. It's just not. Because if you're pulling me over because I was speeding, There's no reason for you to pull a gun on me. If you're pulling me over because my tags are outdated, that's not a reason to pull a gun on me. If you rolled up on me because I was sitting somewhere filling out paperwork in my car and you didn't know what I was doing and you pull out a gun on me, that's a problem. That's a problem. And for people who say, no, 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 their officers are supposed to look for things suspicious. I hear you, but that's called an investigation. And you don't start an investigation with a gun pointed at somebody's face. That's not an investigation if you've got a weapon drawn already. That's a conclusion already made. You're looking for a reason to kill me. You don't even know why you're even talking to me. Hey, he's sitting in his truck. What's he doing? I don't know. Let me pull my gun out and point it at his face and then make him tell me what he's doing. But the law says I haven't committed a crime, so I don't have to tell you anything. Why are you pointing a gun at me? What are you doing here? Minding my business. Oh, you're being a smart tail. That's not illegal. It's not. But I'm not doing anything. I'm not. Do you are you saying that I'm committing some sort of criminal enterprise here? What crime have I committed? I don't know. Then there's no reason for you to have a weapon drawn. It all goes back to you're drawing a weapon on me for nothing because you're fearful. If you're fearful to that degree, that's not the job for you. It's just not. I
This is
just I feel like what really should be happening is any person of color, I don't care if you're black, white, Chinese, Asian, Middle Eastern. If you get pulled over and a police officer pulls their gun and points it at your face, you should file a complaint. And that should happen daily. Every day anytime it happens, you should file a complaint. Get that badge number, officer's name, and go to that precinct and follow. Hey, this person pulled me over, and this is the reason he said he pulled me over. When he walked up to my car, he had his gun drawn and pointed in my face. That's a problem because now you're creating that trail. Then you say, well, then the officer harass you. Then you complain to the internal affairs, and you keep complaining because if they threaten you and you back off, then they're going to always assume they can threaten people. And that makes it worse for the next person. Somebody's got to stand up, and again, I, I get so tired of people saying, well, there's good cops. Good cops need to be standing in the gap for the people and taking the bad cops down. And if you're not doing that, I can't say you're a good cop. I can say, you know what, my interaction with you was pleasant if you didn't treat me like crap. But if somebody got killed and you know the officer did it and you were there when it happened and you know there was no reason for that person to die, you need to say something. And that's just crazy.
it is crazy. People are crazy. People are dumb and crazy, panicky animals.
Yeah. I mean, and the crazy thing about it is it's not just police officers. Like I hear the argument all the time, like what is it, Chicago? Chicago's like the murder capital, and black people are killing black people in Chicago. So what's the difference when the cops do it? I'm like, well, because the cops, that's their job is to protect and serve. It's not their job to just kill people. So that's a stupid argument. People kill people that they're in proximity to, right?
Basically
So
saying it's okay to kill a person because other people that look like that person are killing each other.
right, that's such a dumb argument. I hear that, so I mean, like, what are you talking about? Like, so you say that it's a higher percentage of African Americans killing African Americans. No, 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 that's actually not true because one, there's a larger Caucasians make up a larger proportion of the society, and they kill each other too. But nobody talks about white on white
They
crime,
don't kill each
black
other
on black crime.
or anything of value. They kill each other because they're crazy.
but
So
that's beside the point. They're still killing each other, and they're still killing each other in the same number.
to me, it's worse when white people kill white people because they're not even doing it for a good reason. They're just crazy.
But what's a good reason? You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
not good reason, but there's some reason behind it when we or when black people do it. A lot of times when white people kill people,
I, I'm gonna disagree with you there because they do some of the same stuff. I mean, like the argument would be, well, why are they killing each other over drugs? Well, because he wanted the drugs and he didn't have the money to buy the drugs, so he decided to kill the drug dealer who had the drugs. That makes sense. It's logical. I wouldn't have done it, but that's logical. So then for the Caucasian people, we had a guy down here in Galveston. I think it's the guy that played, not the guy that played Columbo. I think it was him. His dude killed his neighbor, chopped him up, and put him in the oven. I'm like, what? What? Then we had a dude. This girl went missing, and when I heard about it, I was like, oh my god! It was a young sister who was going to, I think she was in her first year of school. She come home for like the holiday or something, and I don't know why she did it, but she went to her ex boyfriend's. Nobody ever heard from her again. Neighbor said, we smelled this really weird, funky smell, and he was barbecuing like at an odd hour. His dude chopped the girl up in the tub and then grilled on the barbecue pit. This is black people. And I was like, are you kidding me? What?
I don't know. I used to watch the channel, the ID channel with my granny all the time.
But
You
it's
see, before
it's
she died,
crazy.
there was rarely ever any black people on there.
But this is the thing. Like this is the thing to me. There is a presumption that I think everybody has their own bias. So black people think that only white people crazy and do some of the crazy stuff we hear about, and then white people think black people are only people that kill each other over drugs and girlfriends and stupid stuff, and we all have these biases. All I know is some of the stuff that I witnessed, on the news and the various police shows where they break the cases apart, and I would just be like, man, like you remember the dudes in up in DC, the DC shooters? I was just like, when that happened, I was like, there is no way that these are black people. And then it was a black dude. Well, he was Jamaican or something like that, but
No, he don't
didn't.
count. They don't claim us, so they don't get to be in
But
the.
but
Um,
but in the eyes of the system, he was black. See, that's the thing. We do the same thing. Just like the system will say, if you're a black man from Egypt, you're not black American, so you're not black until you try to go for a minority job that says you have to be African American. Then they're going to tell you, well, you can't get that job because you're not a minority, because you're not a black American black. Then it's an issue. But otherwise, you good. No, we like you. You all right. You're not the normal black. You're not American black. You see what I'm saying? We have those distinctions. I hate to go down this road with you, but this is like saying, hey, you know what? If I cheat on my wife, it's not as bad as killing somebody. Well, sin is sin. What's the difference? Well, this sin is worse than that sin. No, 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 no. Not if you're a Christian, a sin is a sin is a sin. It doesn't matter which one it is. They all bad. And there's no this one is worse than that one. In our minds, we make the difference of it, but it's all the same. I'm telling you, I didn't know about. I never heard no black folks chopping nobody up and cooking them. I was like, that's Jeffrey Dahmer type stuff. But then it happened, and I was like, what? That's I. What's going on? What is happening? That this is the level of depravity that people are sinking to. So like now, I just don't assume that it's not us. You know, only time I tell you what I know when it is us. Most of the time, I be like, oh, shot down in the street by the police. Oh yeah, it's probably black. Yeah, probably a black guy. Yeah. Why? Because that's typically what it is. It's very rare that it's been someone else.
Here's a white man shot down the
It's very rare that that's the case, you know. Or, well, the suspect is wanted, but you don't hear a description. I'm usually surprised if that's something, if that's, you know, a black person. If they don't give a description, I'm usually really surprised if it turns out to be a black guy, because usually they'll give you that person's total history. When it's a black person or a person of color, they'll tell you their history. Oh, they've got Facebook posts where they're posing with weapons and throwing up gang signs, or they're doing this and they're doing that. They'll destroy your character and not even know if you the person involved. But your character is toe up because you made a Facebook, the Trayvon Martin in Florida. Oh, what's crazy to me is how I'm still been trying to figure this one out. How is it stand your ground when you shouldn't have even approached this young man and bothered him? You wasn't a police officer. It stand your ground.
Stay in the car and leave them alone, and they will handle it.
But here's the argument. Well, the dispatcher is actually not a police officer, so they can't give instructions. What? You are neighborhood watch.
Yo, his wife left him. That tells you all you need to know.
That's irrelevant. That should have been murder in the first degree, because one, your neighborhood watch. Watch means watch, observe, report. It does not mean go confront, get your tail whooped, get mad that you got your tail whooped, and kill somebody. Because I still honestly believe
posting all this irrelevant stuff. He was kicked out of school, and that's why he was there anyway. So what?
Yeah, but he you didn't know him because you didn't care to know him. His dad lived there. He wasn't in a neighborhood where he shouldn't have been. You just didn't know him. That's irrelevant. I think, and I always say I'm just speculating, but what I still say, what happened is you approached that young man, you thought you was gonna punk him, and that young man put them things on you, and you was like, I can't go out like that, getting beat up by some young punk. I'm not gonna say what he probably said, and so he pulled his gun out and killed him. Because my issue is, listen, if I'm whooping your tail and I got you on the ground, you ain't gonna be able to get to no pistol that's in no holster. I know you got a gun. I'm beating your face in. You're gonna be unconscious. You not getting no weapon. Because if you let me get in close and I know you got a weapon, I'm not giving you an opportunity to pull it. So I believe what happened is you got whooped, and as the young man was walking away, like, I told you, leave me alone. And as he was walking away, you stood up and you said, hey, boy. And when he turned around and said, man, F you blasted him. Because there's no other reason that you would have had to pull a gun.
No.
Again, I'm speculating. But hey, I don't want to get that dude no more time either.
Did you listen to that phone call?
I heard the part where he was talking to the little I don't know what she was, Haitian girl or whatever. He was like, this dude is following me. I think he about to say something, and then I don't remember what happened after that. But I'm just saying.
You can hear the scuffle from the call. You can hear the scuffle of him trying to get away from him.
Right, but it's the whole thing. Florida is such a crazy A state. Anyway, I listened to to Charlamagne the guy.
That man that barbecued that chick, was that in Florida? You sure that wasn't?
No. That was here in Texas. That was here in Houston. I was amazed about that one. I was like, oh my God. And then I think within the same week or within the same month, another dude was found in the trunk of a car in the garage in a plastic bag. Like, it had gotten so bad that the funk had escaped the bag, and somebody went. They was like, what is that smell? And they called the police, and they found this other person. I don't know if they ever found the person who did that, but that was so crazy. That summer was weird. I was like, what is going on in Houston? I hear a lot. I talk to Big Bro and them. And then I got a couple of the friends that I chat with that live in St. Louis as well every now and then, and they just be like, "Man, that's the wow, what's up?" I'm like, it's like that everywhere. You gotta understand, Houston is hot. It is hot. So when stuff go pop off down here, it'd be like, oh my goodness, what is happening? It's crazy down here, but it's crazy like that everywhere. It's like something is going on. I don't know if it's in the ether or whatever, but some of it's this hatred brewed up by that crazy dude, and just that deep seated anger that people have had because they feel like some people have moved up that shouldn't have opportunities, whatever, you know. But it's out of control. It is out of control. I mean, matter of fact, there's a crazy thing I saw in our paper down here. Car deal not down here in Alabama. Car dealership to celebrate the 4th of July. When you buy a car, they gonna give you a 12 gauge shotgun to celebrate the 4th of July. I said, what? You give well, they do say, well, you have to pass all the checks associated with it. But the point is, why are you giving away a shotgun with a car? What is that?
Texas. The,
That wasn't Texas. That's in Alabama.
oh,
That's
Alabama
Alabama.
is worse.
That's the what he saying shooter.
Alabama part of one of the states that wanted to break off from the U.S.
I don't know. It's like that's how it reminded me of shooter. The patron saint of shooting stuff. That's what it made. That's what it made me think of.
We got to close in about 5 minutes because we've been going on for about 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of, um, what are you doing for this nation's holiday? I won't call it our holiday because our holiday is Juneteenth and they barely recognize that. We're going to call it this nation's holiday.
Uh, I bought some of them little things that you throw on the ground and snap, but they call them cat heads or something. I don't know what they called. So my son, because I definitely don't feel safe giving him nothing that explodes. So I'm gonna give him some of those to throw and snap on the ground. We're probably gonna hang out with family, and they gonna probably pop some fireworks. That's gonna be pretty much it. I mean, I don't, I'm at a place where I'm like, I'm not spending no money on that, no real money, other than going somewhere to eat. I don't need the fireworks. It's too much going on. I don't want to accidentally get shot because I thought it was fireworks and somebody was really shooting. It's crazy. It's crazy. It was just on news tonight. There was a fireworks show and somebody started shooting. It's like it's crazy. People, you don't want to go nowhere. You really don't want to go
You
anywhere.
can put blanks in the gun or shoot into the ground if you're determined to shoot your gun.
I mean, but it's just people are so out of control that it makes no sense at all. Like at some point, who's responsible? Well, guns don't kill people. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. If you didn't have a gun, you couldn't kill as many people from a distance. So, hello.
No
Uh,
person will take away our Second Amendment right. They're already trying to do that with weed. They say we'll give you a medical marijuana license, but in exchange for that medical marijuana license, you give up your Second Amendment right.
who said that? Where is that?
In Missouri, if you get a medical marijuana card, you cannot get a license to have a gun or have a gun. Which is hilarious because there are plenty of people that drink alcohol, and alcohol messes up your judgment way more than marijuana does. Not to mention who that has been smoking weed is gonna move fast enough to shoot anybody.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, that makes no sense at all. I mean, beer makes people angry and their inhibitions are gone. Most people I've ever known that have taken a bit of that Mary Jane, they usually mellow, they giggle a lot, and they got the munchies. But typically they ain't trying to hurt nobody. But that's the thing, is that has been a substance that that in various ways has been able to help people medically, you know, but that has also been a substance that has been used to incarcerate a lot of people, and this is another institutional systematic method of oppressing people. I mean, because like you said, when Obama was in office, it was federally, it's still against the law, but we're going to defer to the local government, to each state to decide what they want to do. We're not going to go in and just, arrest people for that. We're not going to do that because that's stupid. It's a waste of our time and energy. But
That's
no,
actually one thing that President Trump is trying to make legal. That's the one thing that he does that everyone agrees with.
what
He's trying to make marijuana legal.
is he?
On a federal level.
Is he?
hmm
Or is he playing the game?
I don't know. It's on one of his thingies.
Right, he playing the game. And this is how I say he playing the game. What has he said he was gonna do, or what position has he held that didn't change?
He said he's gonna build that wall, and he's done a lot to try to build it.
But
Like
here's the thing.
he's tried to take money. Like they keep resubmitting budgets
Hmm.
for a certain amount for the wall. I forget how much it was. It only cost 1 billion to build the wall. That's what's really weird. It only cost about 1 billion to build the wall, but they
Yeah.
were requesting like between 5 and 8 billion. It's
Hmm.
funny because the Congress had given. They said, okay, you need 1 billion to build the wall. We tired of this. Take the 1 billion, right?
Hmm.
He said, nah, F that. I need like 5 to 8 billion to build the wall. And
Exactly.
so then they resubmitted a plan to build the wall for $5 to $8 billion. I can't remember which one it was. I think it went up twice to build the wall, but they would not fill in on the plan
Exactly.
what they were going to be using it for. And that's what the guy came out and said. He said, we have no problem. We approved the wall. They went up on the price that they wanted. That's why we're in shutdown,
Hmm.
because they went up on the price, and then they did not put in it what they were going to use it for. They didn't even bother to lie what they were going to use the money for. They just won't put it, and
Exactly.
they keep going back and forth. You got to put this on paper. What you're using the money for. I
Exactly.
know you're not used to doing your taxes, but this is how it's done.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the game. If I can get you to give me a blank check to do whatever I want to do, and I ain't gotta tell you nothing, then we good. But if you're not gonna give me what I asked for and let me not tell you, then it's a problem. It's a game. It's like, it's the whole red herring. I'm gonna hold this out in front of you because this is really what's going on over here. But I want you to look at this red fish over here. Look at this red fish. See the red fish? Yeah. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Look at this red fish. But really, my backhand is doing something else. As I say, it's a game. They said it, it's already out there. We were willing to give you for the wall. And what you're doing isn't something that wasn't already in place, wasn't already, like, a lot of it is for repairing sections that have been damaged over the years, and then there are some areas that they were actually adding. So it's nothing new. This is stuff that Obama had in place that was moving forward, since 9/11, from back in Bush day. All of that stuff was being readdressed and added to and repaired, right? So that money had already been allocated. We got the money, but you need to tell us, like you said, what exactly are you going to do with it? You We hold the purse strings. You're not just going to be able to get a bunch of money from us and not tell us what you're doing with it. That's how he ran his real estate. That's why we ain't gonna never see them taxes. That's why the
It's
the
all
other,
investment.
the other party gonna say, well, we'll do a closed session. uh we're not going to put that out in the public. We'll do a closed session so we can know what's happening, but then nobody else knows what's happening, and then everybody's
What,
speculating, and nobody.
what's,
Huh?
what's funny is people compare Trump to Obama and say how much better Obama was, when really it was like I told you, whoever the figurehead is the is what the country comes off of: weak, strong, stupid, dumb. So we have Trump as a figurehead. So right now, the impression of everybody is everybody's impression of us that we were already stupid. Now it's times two.
No,
But
no,
so
it's confirmed with him. With Obama, it was, wait a minute, this is an educated guy. He's got some different ideas. Let's see what he's gonna do.
not really, because Obama lost me. I mean, Obama lost me in two ways. Obama is actually Bush's cousin. First of all,
That's 6 degrees of separation now. That's, I mean, everybody's related to somebody.
no, that's bullcrap. First of all, second of all, it's not too far down the line that they're related. And with his mom being white on that side, you can't really tell me that there ain't something going on right there. Second, he signed the I can't remember what it was called, but the state of emergency. There was no need for it, but he resigned it. He
Oh,
signed it. It ended, and he signed it to renew it.
yeah, yeah.
There, he lost me there, because now at the point people don't even realize that the police can hold you for more than as long as they want to right now. The police doesn't have to release you, and they don't have to have a reason for it if they ever decide they want to do it.
Well,
Right
that
now, we are in martial law, and people, or if not close to it, people don't even realize it.
well,
That
that's
we're
supposed to
sitting
be, but that's supposed to be
doing
if they consider you a threat to national security. That's what that's
okay.
supposed to be about. But again, here's the thing though. Though President Obama did re-sign the State of Emergency Act or whatever it's called, that actually had been in effect since the original Revolutionary War. That
I
never
know,
went
but
away.
why did you resign it?
Every
Why?
president has re-signed it
Why are they resigning it? Why are
because
they keeping
it's
us
so
in a state of emergency?
because that's, I mean, unfortunately that's part of the structure. I mean,
We
Trump.
lose all of our rights in a state of emergency. So why are they continuously re-signing that with no need? The only person that I could think of that had a reason to sign that was when we were in World War II, and when Bush signed it after the 9/11 attack, which we know was an inside job. So
But
there was no reason for, we were not at war. Well, not as bad as we had been. We had taken care of terrorists. Like Obama took care of pretty much all the terrorists. There was
mm,
absolutely no reason to resign that.
no, because you never get rid of all the
So
terrorists.
you're
That's
saying
the
that
problem.
so you're saying we should be in a state of emergency because of unknown terrorists.
We're always in that. That's what I'm saying.
So we're in a state of emergency. We lose our rights as U.S. citizens.
Yes.
So what's the point of being supposed to be the most free country in the world, or suppose we're not free because we're continuously in a state of
And
emergency where all of that's been stripped away?
listen, at any time, whether that act is in place or not, at any time, a U.S. president can say, "I'm declaring a national state of emergency," and your rights go out the window with that act or not. That's been on the books since the beginning.
I,
That's
they
what I'm
didn't
saying. That's
answer
been
the question of why they continuously sign it when we're not in a state of emergency.
because it gives them unlimited scope to surveil and collect data on everybody all the time. So at
So
any
you agree
time,
that we should not be in a state of emergency, or do you disagree that we should be in a state of
I mean,
emergency?
I don't think we should be in a state of emergency. I'm not saying that I disagree with what you're saying. What I'm saying is that's been there, but the problem is people don't typically understand it. You understand what I mean? Like people don't recognize that at any time that's always been there, but now somebody's attached it to a specific executive order, or because really we shouldn't be going to war without Congress actually are the ones who give the president the ability to go to war. But what happened is Congress stopped doing their job, and so what they ended up doing is allowed the president to just make random decisions, but then they would come back on occasion and say, well, we think that's a bad idea now, after the fact. but they are the ones who actually had a power. At any time, they are supposed to be able to say, no, 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 we're not going to do that. But
Well,
because
see,
people
that's what
abdicated their but because people abdicated their authority, their positions, now this crazy guy feels like he can do whatever he wants because that's what Bush was able to do. Clinton was able to do it till he got the impeach stuff. Obama had to, was able to do it. That's why we got the, what is it? We'll strike first because we think you might be doing something. You might be over there planning something against us. We'll strike first. But you ain't done nothing. But we think you over there doing something.
this
You
sound about right. I like what did what's the name say? He said we put a boot in your ass. It's the American way.
yeah.
That's my
I mean it
song.
is. But that reminds me. So let me say this before we get off. So I was talking to my friend, we were talking about what's how our military and people are indoctrinated, right? And so through boot camp and all the classes that, so for instance, their physical training is maybe like 2 or 3 hours. They might do running and weights and learn how to shoot and all of that. And then the rest of the time, that most of the rest of the stuff they're doing in boot camp is being indoctrinated. You're taking all these classes talking about how great America is, how America's the greatest country in the world, and all of this America great, which is really fascist propaganda. It is not, and somebody's going to hear this and take it all out of context. But what I'm saying is, you're indoctrinating people. Indoctrination is brainwashing. Even if you believe it, it's still brainwashing. When you got people, because this is my understanding of the Constitution, the military are supposed to protect us from foreign and domestic terrorists. So to me, what that means is, even though the president is the commander in chief, if what he says is detrimental to our country, they should have the ability to say no. But what was explained to me is, no, you don't have that option as a military person. When you signed up and volunteered, you became government issued. And your job, no matter who the president is to follow orders.
Exactly.
Orders say, if he
Basically,
say go over here and bomb these people to shit, you're supposed to go do it. Even if what he's saying and his reason behind it is dead wrong, that's what you're supposed to do.
yep.
And I'm like, that doesn't, then how are you protecting us from foreign and
Doesn't
domestic?
matter. You're a soldier. You're not supposed to question it. They train you that when you're a soldier, if you question, you're putting you and your colleagues in danger. Your
Exactly.
colleagues are your family, your brothers and your sisters.
Right. But at the same time, in Vietnam, there was plenty of COs who didn't come back because they wanted people to do something stupid, and people said, "No, I ain't doing that. You go do that. You do that." It was
And
plenty of those.
what's funny is I know a girl, a family friend, who just signed on for 20 years with the military.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is the thing.
Yeah,
And
20
and
years. She's younger
and
than me.
and this is my thing. Again, I'm not saying that military personnel are bad. That's not what I'm saying. My question is, why is it okay for you to not be uh to not have enough knowledge and self-awareness to recognize that when somebody is asking you to do something wrong, why do you not have the ability to say no? I don't under To me, that doesn't make sense. When you volunteer, okay, it's just like, it's not quite the same, but you volunteer at church. At any time you can say, I ain't doing that. So if you say, I'm a sign up to do this, and then you see something that's terrible coming down the pipeline, you should better say, no, I'm not doing that. That's wrong. I know that's wrong because the law says it's wrong. It doesn't make sense to me for people to just do it, suffer the repercussions for something that they know was wrong, but they did it anyway. And then the people who asked them to do it don't suffer any repercussions. That makes no sense to me. And that's an issue. But that's another reason why I didn't join the military. because I don't know, I'd be court-martialed probably pretty quick.
Yeah, my grandpa wanted me to join the military, and I told my grandpa felt like they would pay for everything for me, and I had to tell my grandpa that the military operates like a lot of businesses these days. They don't really care about you or your well being; they just care about the numbers and the money. And so, because I mean, they're not gonna just because they pay for me to go to college doesn't mean it's the same system. They don't care.
Yep. And at any time you can be in the middle of school and they be like, "Hey, we're gonna go over here and kill some people. We need you," and you gotta go. And that's crazy. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm just,
You're
I'm.
gonna fit me perfectly for this show because I am straight logical and you are liberal. It's just
Well, but you know what? I don't even take the term liberal. This is my thing. Okay, I use this term. I say we're replendocrats. Is what we are. Okay, because on some things we're independent about, on some things we're liberal about, on some things we're conservative about. So that gives us a Republican slant in certain issues, certain areas, a Democratic slant in some, a liberal view in others, and what's the other? Libertarian view in others. Um, and so I don't necessarily say I fit into one category. I don't think anybody fits in one category, but it depends on the topic. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know. I hate the labels because I feel like sometimes that the labels it puts you in this little box, whereas we don't fit in that box because we have traits across the bandwidth of these ideologies. You know, like I don't necessarily believe like what's the guy's name? Listening to the debate, I think his last name is Yang. Like listen to his take. I'm gonna give uh every American 18 and older $1,000 a month, automatic, no questions asked. You a lie. You can't do that. It's not gonna happen. How were you gonna get the money from? Corporations ain't gonna get that money up. So where are you gonna get this $1,000 a month from? Ain't enough taxes gonna do that. I'm surprised that I understand where he coming from, like the idea, but it's got to be paid for, and that's the issue. That's the thing about our country. Our country is a capitalistic country, which is all about listen. The least I got to do to get the most back is what I'm gonna do. Okay, that's capitalism. If I can only put in a little, but I get a whole lot back, that's what I want to do. And then people say, no, that's not. No, that's actually what it is. That is exactly what capitalism is about. It's not about making things better for everybody. It's not. It's about how can I get as much stuff as possible. Stuff meaning money and resources that can make me more money, so that I can make more money and more money. That's what capitalism is about. Now, there are individuals who use their capitalism and then bless other people, but that's not the general rule for capitalists.
It's
You know what I'm
not.
saying? That's just not. It's no, it's really about getting as much as I can get, but giving as little as I have to in order to get that.
I can dig it. And on that note, we gotta leave a warning for more. We're gonna stop this broadcast. Thank you for joining us with the. Go ahead and say it.
The fandom
We're gonna be
void.
back eventually when I get the time and date and place that we can agree on for the great experiment, and that means we'll be doing 2 podcasts a week.
All right.
Hopefully, if I get my priorities straight. I just, yeah. So
No,
anyway, thank you for joining us.
it's